Hello friend, welcome back. In your previous video, we installed all the tower packages and also I loaded our Express, the .env, the Mongos. I create the connection with the database, right? Now I want to handle all the tower request. Okay, so for better I put some of the note for you. Then that will be as a request, and then parser. Okay, parsers. So request parsers, because into the project that might be different type of request. It might be as a JSON request or the form request. So for the reasons here we have to use some of the middleware. So I make it as an app and then use, right? So that is our app use property, and with this here I want to pass that our JSON. That means the express JSON. Okay, so I simply loaded this express JSON in here. Okay, I simply manage all that our JSON data, and also for the form data, because here to this project I will actually use some of the HTML template. Okay, so for the reasons I want to do, I use another one, that is app use. I want to pass that our form data, so that will be as the express. Into this express area I want to use that as a URL. Okay, URL and code. So that is URL encoded, and into this encoded area here also I want to pass it as a extended. Okay, extended. So that is extended. I want to make it as a true. So then we are able to handle all that our HTML form data. Okay, that means HTML form request we can actually handle it with this. And then the most important part we have to load all that our view file, right? That means all that our HTML file I want to access it. For the reasons I want to do in our project, into this project, I want to create another new folder as a views. Okay, so that is a views. So all that our views, that means index, or all that our file will be set up in here, and everything will be as an EJX format. For the reasons here I want to do, but I put some of the note that will be for the set view. Okay, view engine. So for set view engine I want to use that as an app, and then also that have one of the method as a set method. Okay, so with this set method area here I want to pass our engine name. I name it as a view. Okay, view engine. So view engine, so automatically now that will be get our this folder. Okay, there is a views folder. It should be checked in our particular this folder area. So here I make it as a view, and our format will be all that our extension will be EJX. I have already installed that EJX, so automatically that will be get this EJX. So I want to make it as a EJX. So I simply loaded this EJX. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. So here I simply loaded our view engine, and then we need our file structure. So I make it as a set static. Okay, static folder. Static folder means that will be one of the public folder. Okay, so for the reasons if you want to access it better, I want to do, here I want to create another new folder, and I just name this as a public. So all that our images, CSS, everything I will save in particular this folder area. Here we have to set it. So if you want to set it, first of all that will be the app, and then the use into the middleware area we have to pass it. That will be the express. Okay, so that is actually the main basic structure for run develop your total structure. So that is express, and then the static. Okay, that is one of the static function. So into this static function area here we have to pass that our path. So that will be the path. So I simply loaded that path, and this path will be as a join. So I simply loaded as a join method, and here with this we have to pass that our directory. So that will be as an underline and then directory name. Okay, so I simply load the directory name. Our directory name, I have already created this folder. Our folder name I name it as a public. LIC. So I simply loaded this public. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. So when you use that as a path, also we have to load it. So here I want to take another variable as a constant, and I name it as a path. Okay, so that will be as a path, and path will be our required. So that will be the required, and required will be a module, our module name as a path. Okay, so now it should be get this data. So it should be get this path. I take the things in here. Now with this path I join our directory name. Our directory name will be as a public, and that is our public folder. Great. And after that I also want to create our structure for our cookies. I have already installed that parse cookies, right? So now we can actually also use it. So that will be the parse cookies. So I want to create another middleware, that will be the app use. So into this app use area here we have to do, I have already installed that cookies. So here if you run with the cookies, Okay, that is a cookies parser. If you click as enter, automatically that will be inputted, that things like you can see automatically that inputted our cookies parsers from to the cookies parser. Okay, so I simply loaded that things in here. So into if you pass some of the specific ID for these cookies, you can also pass it. Better I want to take it in our env file. So into this env file, if you want to access it, then what exactly you have to do, that will be as a process and then the .env, and into this process.env I want to create one of the variable as a cookie. Okay, cookie and underscore secret. Okay, cookie secret. So this type one of the cookie secret now we have to create. So that will be one of the variable. I simply copy it. Now we have to create it in our .env. So into this .env I name it as a cookie secret. So cookie secret, actually you can actually generate some of the code. So right now I make it like this type of one of the code. Okay, better here I make this type of one of the code. So this type of one of the code. So that will be our cookie secret, and this secret key I simply loaded in here with this process env, and then that is our variable name as a cookie secret. Great. And then we need our route, right? So here we also have to configure our route setup. So that will be the routing setup. So I will do that things later, and also we need that error handling. Better I put some of the node, then that will be actually helpful because that will be most advanced one of the project. So I want to try to use some of the references node, then that will be very much helpful. Okay, and after that we have to run our port name. So I have already discussed about that things with you. That will be the app and then listened, right? So that is the app listened. Here with this we can actually create our port. So if you want to pass some of the port name in here, before I pass it as a 3000, so you can pass it directly rather than if I have already created our env. So into this env area I want to better create another one of the variable as a port. Okay, I name it as a port. Our port will be right now I want to use it as a 5000. Okay, 5000 port I want to use. So that will be our port. I simply copy it. Now in our app here, if you want to access out this port variable, then what exactly you have to do, you have to make it as a process, right? So that will be as a process, and then .env, and into this .env our variable name as a port. So I simply loaded this port, and also it should be passed one of the callback functions. So I simply loaded another callback function. You can see it's already suggested one of the callback functions. So into this callback function area, onto the console log. So into this console log I want to display some of the message. Okay, if you want to display some of the message, better I want to use some of the backtick like as a app. Okay, app listening to port, and port that will be as a $. Okay, so $, and then the curly bracket area here I want to pass our port all that value. If you want to pass it right now, that is in our process.env, and then our name, our variable name as a port. Okay, so now that should be displayed in here. I hope friend it's very much clear to you what exactly the things I have done. So when our port will be running, then that will be displayed into the console log as a app listening to the port, and our port value here I have named it as a 5000. So now that should be displayed as a 5000, right? So now that is the basic structure of our project. So that is our project basic structure, and also there we have to discuss about that routing and then error handling. Before that I want to run our project. So if you want to run this project also in our package.json, in this package.json area here we have to update, right? Here we can make it as a start. So that will be for the development server. When that will be, I will upload that project to the web server, then that will be needed. So for the reasons I want to make it as a node. Okay, node underscore env, and into this env I name it as a development. Okay, develop development nodemon app, because our app.js will be our main file. So I make it as a app.js. Okay, and also I want to run our local server. So for the local server I name it as a server. Okay, the local server I want to run it with the nodemon package. I hope you already know about that nodemon. That is a nodemon. So nodemon will be what? Nodemon will be, it should be run our app.js, right? So our app.js will be run here. That will be one of the property. So now simply I run our nodemon with this app.js. So when you run as a npm run server, then our nodemon will be executed, and our nodemon will be whatever the things will be changed in your project, this will be run our server again, right? So for the reason I want to do first I want to install that nodemon. If you want to install it, go to the terminal. I didn't install that nodemon, so if you want to install it, then that will be as npm, right? So I want to use it as npm and then install nodemon. Okay, so that is a npm install nodemon. If you now click as enter, now that will be install that nodemon in your system. Simply it may take little time. Here it's now installing that nodemon package. Now you can see our nodemon package is now successfully installed. Okay, here it's now also select install if you also want to check it. And now better I close this package.json and open it again. Now that should be another dependency as a nodemon. You can see nodemon is also successfully now installed. Great. So when now you install that nodemon and into this package, I name it as a server, right? And when you click as a npm run server, then our nodemon with it should be run our app.js. Okay, so now let's check this out. If you now run with the npm and then run server, okay, server, and now click as enter, our nodemon should be run. You can see nodemon is now successfully running, and yes, you can see everything is great. Now it's displaying our console as a app listening to port 5000 and also database connection successful. That means right now all that our things that is in our app.js into this app.js, when database will be connection successfully, it will be display as a database connection successful, which is totally fine. And also you can see I have already declared that port as a app listening to port, and from this data actually comes from our this env file, right? Here I name as a port as a 5000. So now there is a process.env port, and you can see it's now display as a app listening to port as a 5000. So this part is also successfully running. Okay friend, I hope every part is very much clear to you. So right now whatever the things will be changed automatically, this server will be executed by this nodemon. I hope you already know about it. I have discussed about that things a lot of the time. So if better I want to do and to continue this process, in our next video I will complete our error handling part. Okay, how can working with this error handling, I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.